Richard Johnson. Disclaimer. Warning, this book doesn't play nice. If you came looking for a wholesome family drama, put this book down. Right now. This story isn't about love. It's not about redemption. And it sure as hell isn't about happy endings. This is about power, greed, and betrayal, where blood means nothing, and loyalty is just a word people use before they stab you in the back. Inside these pages you'll find wealth, corruption, and scandal, because the rich don't play fair. Sex, affairs, and manipulation, because love is just another power move. Drugs, violence, and murder, because in the fight for the throne only the ruthless survive. Vulgarity and cutthroat business tactics, because billionaires don't say please. A family tearing itself apart, one secret at a time. Nobody is innocent. Nobody is fucking safe. And by the time this is over, the McKoy dynasty will never be the same. Chapter 1. The House That Power Built. The McKoy estate was more than a mansion. It was a monument. 4 acres of pristine land, gated, guarded, untouchable. And inside, the most powerful family in the city. The McKoys didn't just own businesses. They owned people. The dying king, Gerald Alexander McKoy, sat in his grand leather chair, overlooking the estate. His hands shook. His body was failing him. But his mind, still sharp as a blade, because he knew the truth. The moment he died, his family would tear itself apart. And that was exactly why he wasn't dead yet. The heirs waiting like wolves. Downstairs, the McKoy heirs gathered. They spoke in hushed voices. Not about Gerald, not about grief, but about his will. Sebastian poured a drink. Celeste checked her phone. Reuben leaned against the fireplace, watching them both. Victoria, Gerald's wife, stayed quiet. She knew the game better than anyone. The moment Gerald was gone, there would be no family left. Just a war. And no one planned to lose. Chapter 2. The Will That Changes Everything. Gerald Alexander McKoy sat at the head of the mahogany conference table, his fingers tapping slow, rhythmic beats. Across from him, his family. Sebastian, Celeste, Reuben, Victoria. Each one of them was waiting, watching. Because today, Gerald was rewriting his will. And the moment his pen hit the paper, one of them was getting erased. The stakes. Gerald's voice was low, steady, unshaken. Gerald.
This empire will not fall apart the second I stop breathing.
Sebastian smirked.
Then maybe you should keep breathing, old man.
Celeste hid her grin behind her wine glass. Reuben, silent, calculating, waiting. Victoria's eyes flicked between them. She already knew. Blood would spill after this. The betrayal. Gerald signed the papers, set them down. And then he looked up, directly at Reuben. Gerald.
You're out.
Silence. Heavy. Unbelieving. Reuben's jaw tightened, his fingers curled into fists. Reuben.
Say that again.
Gerald leaned back. Gerald.
You heard me, boy. You're done.
The war begins. Reuben stood, chair scraping against the floor. Reuben.
You can't fucking do this.
Gerald smirked.
I just did.
Sebastian exhaled, shaking his head. Celeste just watched, amused, enjoying the fire. Victoria closed her eyes, bracing for the explosion. Because Reuben? He wasn't walking away from this. He was coming back. And when he did, he was bringing hell with him. Chapter 3. Reuben McKoy just declared war. Reuben stormed out of the mansion, rage burning through his veins. The cold night air did nothing to cool him down. He had built this empire just as much as the others. And now, he was erased. Like he never fucking mattered. The first move. Reuben climbed into his car, gripping the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. Reuben.
You want to cut me out, old man?
He let out a slow, dark chuckle. Reuben.
Then I'm taking something with me.
He pulled out his phone, dialed a number he hadn't called in years. The voice on the other end answered. Voice. Reuben smirked.
Yeah, well, I'm in the mood to burn some bridges.
Meanwhile, inside the McKoy mansion, Sebastian poured himself another drink. Sebastian.
That went well.
Celeste chuckled.
Better than expected.
Victoria? She wasn't smiling. Victoria.
You idiots don't get it, do you?
Sebastian raised an eyebrow.
Get what?
Victoria downed her wine. Victoria.
You don't exile a man like Reuben. You prepare for his revenge.
The room went silent. Because deep down, they all knew she was right. Chapter 4. The First Betrayal. Reuben didn't waste time. The second Gerald cut him out, he started cutting back. And the first thing he took was loyalty. The secret meeting. A quiet restaurant, back booth, dim lights, no cameras. Reuben sat across from a man he never thought he'd call. Sebastian. His brother. His rival. And now, his first potential ally. The offer. Reuben sipped his whiskey. Reuben.
You know Gerald's fucking dying, right?
Sebastian smirked.
Aren't we all?
Reuben leaned forward.
Yeah, but some of us are running out of time faster than others.
Sebastian stayed quiet. Because Reuben was right. Gerald wasn't just old. He was weak. And weak men lose everything. Reuben.
You and I both know Celeste is coming for that empire.
Sebastian tightened his jaw. Reuben.
So here's my offer. You help me take Gerald down. I'll make sure you get what's yours before she does.
A long pause. Then, Sebastian chuckled. Sebastian.
You always were a sneaky bastard.
Reuben grinned.
That a yes?
Sebastian swirled his drink. Sebastian.
I'll think about it.
Reuben smirked. That was good enough for now. Because the first crack in the McKoy dynasty had just opened. And once a crack starts, it doesn't stop until something breaks. Chapter 5. Gerald's Last Warning. Gerald Alexander McKoy wasn't stupid. He knew his family better than anyone. And if they thought they could plot behind his back, they were about to learn the hard way that the old man still had teeth. The family meeting, the McKoy mansion, private study, doors locked. Gerald sat at the head of the table. Sebastian, Celeste, Victoria, all seated. The only one missing, Reuben. And that was intentional. Gerald lit a cigar, exhaling slowly. Gerald.
I know one of you is already working against me.
Silence. No denials, no fake innocence. Because in this family, everyone was guilty of something. The warning. Gerald leaned forward, voice low and lethal. Gerald.
You want my empire?
He tapped his cigar into the ashtray. Gerald.
You better fucking earn it.
Sebastian exchanged a look with Celeste. Celeste smirked. Because this was the opening shot in the real war. Meanwhile, Reuben wasn't waiting. While Gerald was busy playing king, Reuben was out in the city gathering an army. And his first recruit, someone Gerald trusted. Someone who was about to switch sides. Chapter 6. Celeste's Move. Celeste McKoy wasn't interested in waiting. While the men in her family played their little chess games, she was already 10 moves ahead. Because power, it wasn't given. It was fucking taken. The first power play. Celeste stepped into the penthouse suite of one of the McKoy family's most powerful business partners. A man who had millions tied up in McKoy Enterprises. And a man who, if pushed in the right direction, could shift the entire empire in her favor. Adrian Vaughn. Billionaire, ruthless investor. Loyal to Gerald. For now. And currently in bed, literally with Celeste. Pillow talk with poison. Adrian smirked, running a hand down Celeste's bare back. Adrian.
You only call me when you want something.
Celeste grinned, straddling him, leaning close. Celeste.
I always want something, baby.
Adrian chuckled.
What's the play?
Celeste.
Simple. My father's time is up. When he falls, I rise.
Adrian raised an eyebrow.
And what do I get?
Celeste pressed a soft kiss to his ear, then whispered, Celeste. Adrian exhaled slowly. Tempting. Very tempting. And then, he smirked.
You have my attention.
Just like that, Celeste had her first major ally. Meanwhile, Victoria McKoy wasn't blind. She had spent years watching her children tear at each other. And for the first time, she started to wonder, was she betting on the wrong horse? Because Celeste might be the real winner, and Victoria McKoy always backed a winner. Chapter 7. Victoria chooses a side. Victoria McKoy sat in her private suite swirling a glass of wine. For years she played the role of the perfect wife. Graceful, loyal, silent. But silence wasn't survival. And now, with her husband growing weaker and her children circling like vultures, it was time to pick a side. The chessboard. She had 3 options. Sebastian, the golden son but too reckless, addicted to the high life. Celeste, dangerous, cunning, and already making moves, but too ambitious for her own good. Reuben, the wild card, exiled but not out, and more like Gerald than anyone wanted to admit. Victoria took a slow sip. Her decision? She was backing the winner, even if it meant changing the rules. The secret meeting. She made one call. To Reuben. Victoria.
Meet me privately.
Reuben's voice was cautious.
Why the hell would I trust you?
Victoria smirked. Victoria.
Because I might be the only person in this family who sees what's coming.
A long pause. Then, Reuben agreed. Chapter 8. The enemy of my enemy. A private lounge, low lights, no cameras. Victoria McKoy sat at the corner booth sipping her wine. She wasn't nervous. She wasn't scared. Because tonight, she was in control. Across from her, Reuben, exiled, ruthless, and now possibly her best option. The deal. Reuben leaned back, arms crossed. Reuben.
So, what's this? A family reunion?
Victoria smiled. Victoria.
More like a business meeting.
Reuben raised an eyebrow. Reuben.
You backing me now?
Victoria took a slow sip. Victoria.
I'm backing survival, and right now, you might be my best bet.
Reuben exhaled, watching her. Because Victoria McKoy never made a move unless she saw an opening. And if she was sitting here across from the black sheep of the family, that meant she saw something nobody else did. The warning. Reuben leaned in, voice low. Reuben.
Celeste is already making moves. If you think she's gonna let you play both sides, you're dead wrong.
Victoria smiled. Cold. Calculated. Victoria.
That's the thing about playing both sides, darling.
She set down her glass. Victoria.
By the time they realize what I'm doing, it'll be too late.
Reuben let out a slow chuckle. Reuben.
You're more dangerous than people give you credit for.
Victoria.
I know.
Chapter 9. Sebastian's Mistake. Sebastian McKoy was born into power, but power didn't interest him. Pleasure did. Drugs, women, gambling, the thrill of risk. And tonight, he was about to make the biggest mistake of his life. The debt. A private poker game. Sebastian sat at the table, half drunk, high as hell, and feeling invincible. Across from him, Nico Salazar, old Vegas money, ruthless as fuck, owns half the underground gambling scene, and doesn't take losses lightly. The final bet, $5 million. Sebastian had no cash left, but he had a last-minute offer. Sebastian.
Put it on credit. You know who I am.
Nico smirked.
Oh, I know exactly who you are.
Sebastian laid down his cards. Sebastian.
Full house, motherfucker.
Nico. Straight flush. Game over. The consequences. Nico leaned back, lighting a cigar. Nico.
$5 million's a lot of money, McKoy.
Sebastian swallowed hard. Sebastian.
I'll get it.
Nico exhaled, watching him.
No, you won't.
Two men stepped forward, big, armed, not smiling. Nico.
You have 1 week to pay.
Sebastian's pulse kicked up. Sebastian.
And if I don't?
Nico grinned.
Then I take something else.
He slid a photo across the table. Sebastian's heart stopped, because in the picture was his sister, Celeste. Chapter 10. The Ransom. Sebastian McKoy stumbled out of the poker room, hands shaking, mind racing. $5 million. 1 week. And if he didn't pay, Nico Salazar was coming for Celeste. Fuck. The options. Sebastian had 3 choices. Tell Gerald. The old man still had power, but admitting weakness, not an option. Tell Celeste, except she'd probably kill him before Nico got the chance. Find the money himself, and that meant making a deal with the devil. He grabbed his phone, dialed. A voice answered.
Well, if it isn't the McKoy fuck-up himself.
Sebastian exhaled.
I need money.
The voice chuckled.
And what exactly are you offering in return?
Meanwhile, Celeste finds out. Celeste walked into the McKoy estate, heels clicking against marble. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered.
Who the fuck is this?
Nico Salazar. Calm, amused, deadly. Nico.
Your brother just made a very expensive mistake.
Celeste's grip tightened. Nico.
And if he doesn't pay up, you're the one I collect.
A long pause. Then, Celeste laughed. Celeste. Nico smirked.
I guess we'll find out.
Call ended. Celeste stared at her phone, eyes cold. Sebastian was about to wish Nico killed him instead. Chapter 11. Sebastian's Last Chance. Sebastian McKoy was out of options. If he didn't come up with $5 million fast, Nico Salazar was coming for Celeste. And if Celeste found out before he fixed this, she'd kill him herself. So now, he was about to make the worst deal of his life. The meeting. A back room in a high-stakes casino. Sebastian sat across from Vincent Vinny DeLuca. Vegas loan shark. Ruthless as hell. The kind of guy who gives you money fast but collects even faster. And if you don't pay, your body gets found in the desert. Vinny smirked, sipping whiskey.
$5 million's a lot, McKoy.
Sebastian forced a grin.
Not when you're good for it.
Vinny chuckled.
And are you good for it?
Sebastian didn't blink.
Always.
Vinny leaned forward.
Fine. You get your money.
He snapped his fingers. A briefcase landed on the table. Vinny.
1 week. No extensions.
Sebastian exhaled.
Deal.
He grabbed the money and walked out. He wasn't even out the door before Vinny was making a phone call. Vinny.
Keep an eye on him. If he fucks up, break something important.
Because this wasn't a loan. This was a trap. Meanwhile, Celeste makes her first move. Celeste didn't wait. She didn't negotiate. She hunted. She found out where Nico was staying. She called her own people. And now, she was about to send Nico Salazar a message. Because nobody threatened a McKoy and walked away clean. Chapter 12. Celeste sends a message. Nico Salazar thought he was in control. He thought he had the McKoys by the throat. But what he didn't know, Celeste McKoy wasn't the kind of woman you threatened. And tonight, she was about to prove it. The Hit, a private nightclub, VIP section. Nico sat in a lavish booth surrounded by women, bodyguards, and too much confidence. He leaned back, sipping his drink, waiting. Because Sebastian was supposed to show up with his money. Instead, Celeste walked in. Red dress, high heels, and murder in her eyes. The warning. Nico smirked, swirling his drink. Nico.
I was expecting your brother.
Celeste slid into the booth across from him, unbothered. Celeste. Nico raised an eyebrow. So where is he? Celeste smiled. Celeste.
Cleaning up his mess.
Nico chuckled. And you? You're here to flirt or negotiate? Celeste leaned in, voice like a razor. Celeste.
I'm here to warn you.
Nico's smirk faded. Celeste.
You made a mistake, sweetheart. You don't threaten a McKoy. You don't even fucking think about it.
Nico opened his mouth. But before he could speak, bang! The bodyguard to his left collapsed. Blood sprayed across the table. Nico froze. Celeste? She didn't even flinch. She just sipped her drink, calm as death. Celeste.
That was me being polite. Next time, I put the bullet in your fucking skull.
She stood up. Celeste.
Our business is done, Nico.
And then she walked out, leaving Nico staring at his dead bodyguard. Because for the first time in a long time, he wasn't sure he was the most dangerous person in the room. Chapter 13. Sebastian fucks up again. Sebastian McKoy thought he had time. He thought of Vinny DeLuca's 1-week deadline actually meant a week. It didn't. Because when you owe a Vegas loan shark $5 million, they don't wait. They collect. The ambush. Sebastian stumbled out of a strip club, drunk, high, and reckless. He didn't even notice the black SUV pull up. Until the doors flew open. Until 3 men in suits grabbed him. Until a pistol cracked against his jaw. And before he could even scream, he was in the back seat. The car peeled off. And Sebastian was about to learn what happens when you borrow money from the wrong people. Vinny doesn't play nice. A warehouse, concrete floors, one flickering light. Sebastian was on his knees, hands zip-tied, blood dripping from his lip. Vinny DeLuca stood in front of him, calm, collected, holding a baseball bat. Vinny. Sebastian. He sighed, disappointed. Vinny.
Did you really think I was going to wait a whole week?
Sebastian spit blood. Sebastian.
The fuck do you want, Vinny?
Vinny smiled, then swung the bat. Crack. Sebastian's ribs shattered. Pain exploded through his body. He hit the floor, gasping. Vinny crouched next to him, voice low. Vinny.
I want my fucking money, McKoy.
Sebastian choked out a laugh. Sebastian.
I got it. It's coming.
Vinny sighed. Vinny.
See? I don't like coming. I like now.
He stood up, lifted the bat again. Vinny.
So until I get my money?
Crack. Sebastian was going to suffer. Chapter 14. Celeste finds out. Celeste McKoy was enjoying her night. A glass of wine, a high-rise view, the satisfaction of putting Nico Salazar in his place. Then, her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. Whoever this is, make it worth my time. A voice, low, urgent.
Your brother's about to get buried in the desert.
Celeste's grip tightened on the glass. Celeste. Where? The voice hesitated.
Abandoned warehouse. East side.
Then, click. No more details, no more warnings. Celeste didn't need them. She already knew what this was. Vinny DeLuca was collecting. And if she didn't move fast, Sebastian was dead. The problem with rescues. Celeste wasn't sentimental. She didn't do heroics. If Sebastian was stupid enough to gamble with sharks, that was his problem. But if Vinny thought he could put his hands on a McKoy and walk away breathing, that was a fucking mistake. Celeste grabbed her gun, made a call. Celeste.
I need 2 men, loaded and ready. We're going hunting.
Because tonight, she wasn't saving Sebastian. She was making an example out of Vinny DeLuca. Chapter 15. The Slaughterhouse. Vinny DeLuca was mid-swing. The bat connected with Sebastian's ribs again. A sickening crack echoed in the warehouse. Sebastian groaned, barely conscious. Vinny knelt beside him, wiping the blood off his sleeve. Vinny.
You should have paid up, McKoy.
Sebastian spat blood, grinning through the pain. Sebastian.
Yeah? You should have killed me faster.
Vinny frowned.
The fuck does that mean?
Then, bang. The warehouse doors exploded inward. Celeste McKoy had arrived. The slaughter. First shot. Vinny's right-hand man dropped before he could blink. Second shot. Another guard went down. The third. Celeste didn't fire, because she wanted Vinny to see what was coming. She walked in calmly, heels clicking against the concrete. Gun still raised, face unreadable. Vinny's men scrambled, terrified. Vinny, frozen. Celeste.
You touched my brother.
She tilted her head.
You thought that was a good idea?
Vinny gulped.
Celeste, let's talk.
Bang. A bullet buried itself in his kneecap. Vinny screamed. Celeste crouched beside him, yanking his head back. Celeste.
You don't talk, Vinny. You beg.
Vinny's breathing shuddered. Celeste.
Let me explain how this works. You owe me now.
She pressed the barrel against his forehead. Celeste.
And I collect differently.
Sebastian survives. Barely. Celeste glanced at Sebastian, half dead on the floor. Celeste. Sebastian groaned.
God, I hate you.
Celeste smirked.
You're welcome.
Her men dragged him to his feet. Vinny, still kneeling, still bleeding. Celeste turned back to him. Celeste. And then she walked out, leaving Vinny alive, because killing him would be too easy. Chapter 16. A warning to the underworld. The streets of Vegas buzzed with whispers. By sunrise, everyone knew. Celeste McKoy had walked into Vinny DeLuca's warehouse, killed his men, and left him bleeding. She didn't just send a message. She made a fucking statement. The McKoys weren't just still in power. They were untouchable. Vinny wants revenge. Vinny sat in his private suite, leg wrapped in a brace, drink in his hand. His crew stood around him, silent, waiting. Because Vinny wasn't just angry. He was humiliated. Vinny.
That bitch left me alive.
He downed his whiskey. Vinny.
Like I was nothing.
One of his men hesitated.
What's the move, boss?
Vinny smiled. Vinny.
We take something from her.
He pulled out his phone, dialed a number. A voice answered, low, dangerous.
You need a problem solved?
Vinny grinned. Vinny.
I need someone dead.
Meanwhile, Gerald finds out. Gerald McKoy sat in his study, sipping coffee, reading the news. The headline? Gangland hit. Celeste McKoy makes power move against Vegas loan shark. He set the paper down, exhaled. Then, he called Celeste. Celeste.
Morning, Daddy.
Gerald.
Want to explain why the fuck I'm reading about my daughter playing executioner?
Celeste smirked. Celeste. Silence. Then, Gerald laughed. Not anger, not disapproval. Amusement. Gerald.
You're just like me.
Celeste.
I know.
But Gerald wasn't stupid. Celeste just made a very public enemy. And enemies always bite back. Chapter 17. The Hitman Arrives. Las Vegas was a city of power plays. A place where deals were made, alliances shifted, and enemies disappeared overnight. And tonight, someone was about to disappear. Because Vinny DeLuca didn't just want payback. He wanted a body. And he just hired the best in the business to get it. The ghost in the city. Name unknown. Known as the Ghost. A contract killer with no past, no trail, no mistakes. If he takes the job, you're already dead. And now, he was in Vegas, looking for Celeste McKoy. Celeste feels the shadows. Celeste McKoy sat in her penthouse, legs crossed, sipping a martini. Relaxed, untouchable, but something felt off, like she was being watched. She set her drink down, stood up, walked to the window, and there across the street, a black SUV parked waiting, no movement. Celeste smirked. Celeste.
You're gonna have to do better than that, Vinny.
She grabbed her gun, because if someone was coming for her, they'd better be ready to fucking finish the job. Chapter 18. First Blood. The night was too quiet. Celeste McKoy stood by her window, gun in hand, heart steady. She knew the game. She had humiliated Vinny. And now, he wanted her dead. The only question was, who was coming for her? The first strike. The moment she turned from the window. The lights cut out. The penthouse went pitch black. A second later. Bang. A bullet ripped through the glass, missing her by inches. Celeste dropped low, moved fast. Someone was inside, and they weren't here to talk. The ghost moves in. The hitman was already in the apartment. Silent, unseen. He didn't waste time. Celeste was the target. And he always finished the job. She ducked behind the kitchen counter, breathing steady. He was close. She could feel it. But she wasn't trapped. Because Celeste McKoy wasn't prey. She was a fucking predator. The counterattack. She heard the faintest footstep. Pivoted, fired. Bang, bang. A shadow moved too fast. The bullets missed. Then, a blade flashed. Celeste barely dodged, the knife slicing across her arm. First blood. She gritted her teeth. The ghost was good. But he just made one mistake. He let her live. And now, she was about to return the favor. With interest. Chapter 19. The Ghost versus the Queen. Celeste McKoy didn't flinch. Her arm bled. The hitman moved like a phantom. But she wasn't scared. Because fear was a weakness. And Celeste McKoy didn't have weaknesses. The fight begins. The ghost lunged again, knife flashing. Celeste dodged left fast. Her heel clipped a chair, threw her balance. The blade sliced again. This time she barely avoided her throat. He was fast. Too fucking fast. She grabbed a whiskey bottle off the counter, smashed it against the marble. A new weapon. Sharp glass in one hand, gun in the other. Celeste.
You should have killed me on the first try, sweetheart.
The ghost tilted his head, smirked. The ghost.
Who says I didn't?
Then he moved, faster than before. Close combat. The knife struck first. Celeste blocked with the bottle. Glass shattered, shards flew between them. She fired, he twisted, the bullet grazing his shoulder. Then He was on her. They hit the floor, rolling, grappling, fighting for the kill. His hands went for her throat. Her knee drove into his ribs. Pain exploded through her body. But she didn't stop. She wouldn't fucking stop. The kill. The ghost pinned her, knife raised, final blow coming. Celeste did the only thing she could. She slammed her head forward. Crack. Her forehead smashed into his nose, bone shattered. His grip loosened. She reversed, flipped him, gun pressed against his temple. Bang. Silence. Blood pooled beneath him. Celeste rolled off, chest heaving. The hitman was dead. She exhaled, smiled. Celeste.
Told you, sweetheart.
Then, she stood up. Because this wasn't over. Not even fucking close. Chapter 20. Sending Vinny a gift. Celeste McKoy never left loose ends. The ghost, dead on her penthouse floor. But Vinny DeLuca, still breathing. And that was a fucking problem. The cleanup. Her men arrived 10 minutes later. Luca, her most trusted enforcer, took one look at the body and whistled. Luca.
That's a professional, or was.
Celeste lit a cigarette. Unbothered. Celeste.
Get rid of it.
Luca smirked.
Where do you want him?
Celeste exhaled slowly, then smiled. Celeste.
Wrapped up real nice and delivered straight to Vinny's front door.
The delivery. Vinny DeLuca was pouring himself a drink when his guards dropped the package at his feet. A large black duffel bag. Blood-stained, leaking. Vinny frowned. Vinny.
The fuck is this?
No answer. He unzipped the bag. And inside, the ghost. Dead. A bullet in his head. His own knife jammed into his chest. And taped to his forehead. A single playing card. The Queen of Spades. Vinny's hands shook with rage. Because the message was clear as fucking day. Celeste McKoy was still standing. And now, it was her turn to hunt. Chapter 21. A war declared. Vinny DeLuca stared at the body in the bag. Blood dripped onto his marble floors. The ghost was dead. His best killer. His guarantee. And Celeste McKoy just sent him back in pieces. Vinny's hands curled into fists. His crew stood silent, waiting. Because they all knew. Vinny wasn't the type to forgive. He was the type to burn everything down. The retaliation plan. Vinny paced his office, rage boiling. Vinny.
That bitch thinks she can walk all over me?
His right-hand man, Marco, leaned forward. Marco.
Say the word! We hit her back! Big!
Vinny exhaled, steady, cold, calculating. Vinny.
Not just her.
Marco frowned.
Then who?
Vinny smirked.
The whole fucking McKoy family.
Silence. Then, Marco grinned. Marco.
You want to start a war?
Vinny grabbed a bottle of scotch. Poured a drink. Then raised his glass. Vinny.
No, Marco. I want to end one.
Meanwhile, Gerald McKoy makes his move. Gerald sat in his private study. Glass of bourbon in his hand. his empire cracking. Celeste was starting wars. Sebastian was gambling his life away. Reuben was still out there plotting. And Vinny DeLuca was about to come for all of them. Gerald exhaled. Enough. He picked up his phone, dialed a number he hadn't called in years. A voice answered. Deep, dangerous, familiar.
You need something handled?
Gerald swirled his drink. Gerald.
I need a city reminded who the fuck I am.
Chapter 22. Gerald calls in an old favor. Gerald Alexander McKoy wasn't the type to beg. He didn't ask for help. He gave orders. But tonight, he was making a call that could change everything. The man on the other end, a private estate somewhere outside Vegas. The man who picked up wasn't just anyone. Named Victor Rossi. Former McKoy enforcer, ex-hitman. The kind of man who made problems disappear permanently. Years ago, Gerald cut ties. Too violent, too uncontrollable. But now, Gerald needed someone untouchable. And Victor was still just as deadly as ever. The deal. Victor took a slow drag of his cigar. Victor.
You must be desperate, old man.
Gerald smirked. Gerald.
I'm cleaning house.
Victor.
Who's first?
Gerald leaned forward, voice cold. Gerald.
Vinny DeLuca.
A pause. Then Victor chuckled. Victor.
You're finally gonna finish that little cockroach?
Gerald.
I don't pay you to ask questions, Victor. I pay you to kill.
Victor exhaled smoke, thinking, calculating. Then, he grinned. Victor.
Consider it done.
Call ended. Gerald poured another drink. Because tonight, he just signed Vinny DeLuca's death sentence. Chapter 23. Vinny's last night. Vinny DeLuca thought he was in control. He thought he was playing the game. What he didn't know, the game was already over. And tonight, it was his last night breathing. The hunter arrives. Victor Rossi was in Vegas. No announcement, no warnings. He didn't need them. No social media, no paper trail. A ghost with a body count. And when he picked a target, that target died. Vinny DeLuca was already a corpse. He just didn't know it yet. The setup. Vinny sat in his private lounge laughing, drinking. He had plans. Hit the McKoys hard. Take Celeste out. Make Gerald watch his empire crumble. He thought he was on the offensive. But Victor was already inside the building. The execution. Vinny raised his glass. Vinny.
To the McKoy family, may they rot in hell.
A deep voice spoke behind him. Victor.
You'll be there first.
Vinny froze. Turned. Too slow. Bang. A bullet ripped through his knee. Vinny collapsed, screaming. His men reached for their guns. Bang, bang, bang. All three dropped, dead before they hit the floor. Victor walked forward unhurried. Vinny clutched his leg, blood pooling. Vinny.
You don't have to do this.
Victor smirked. Victor.
Yes, I do.
Then, one final shot. Straight through Vinny's skull. It was done. Chapter 24. Gerald sends a message. Vinny DeLuca was dead. The McKoy family had won. But Gerald wasn't done making statements. Because in Vegas, power wasn't taken. It was proven. And tonight, he was about to remind everyone why the McKoy name still ran this city. The announcement. Vinny's body wasn't hidden. It was delivered. Downtown Vegas, right in front of his own casino. Propped up in his car, a bullet between the eyes. A single note pinned to his chest. Debts have consequences. GM. By sunrise, the entire underworld had the message loud and clear. The McKoys weren't just still in the game. They had just won the fucking game. Celeste finds out. Celeste sat in her penthouse staring at the news report. Her father's name wasn't mentioned, but she knew. This question mark was his move. She exhaled, smirked. Celeste.
Guess the old man still got it.
But that also meant one thing. Gerald wasn't planning on stepping down anytime soon. And if she wanted the throne, she'd have to take it from him. Chapter 25. The next target. Gerald McKoy felt untouchable. Vinny was dead. The underworld was afraid again. And now, it was time to secure his legacy. What he didn't know, his biggest enemy was already inside his house. Because Celeste was done waiting. Celeste's decision. She sat in her penthouse, legs crossed, deep in thought. Her father had just wiped a man off the map. Reminded Vegas why the McKoy name was still law. And that was the problem. Because Gerald wasn't stepping down. And if she wanted the empire, she had to take it. Meanwhile, Reuben moves in the shadows. Reuben McKoy had been too quiet. And in this family, silence was never a good thing. He had been watching, waiting, building alliances. Because while Celeste wanted the empire for herself, Reuben wanted to burn it down. And Gerald was next. Chapter 26. Gerald makes a mistake. Gerald McKoy had ruled for decades. He had outlived enemies, buried traitors, and kept his family in line. But power made men blind. And tonight, Gerald was about to make the one mistake that could cost him everything. The private meeting. Gerald sat in his study, whiskey in hand, reviewing the latest business reports. The empire was stable. The city was his. Then, a knock on the door. Victoria McKoy stepped inside, her expression unreadable. Victoria.
We need to talk.
Gerald raised an eyebrow.
About?
Victoria closed the door behind her. Victoria.
Your daughter.
Gerald smirked.
Celeste is ambitious, that's all.
Victoria leaned forward.
No, Gerald. She's making her move.
The smirk vanished. Because deep down, he knew. Celeste wasn't just waiting for her inheritance. She was coming for the throne. And for the first time in his life, Gerald McKoy had underestimated his own blood. Meanwhile, Reuben makes his first move. Reuben McKoy sat across from a man nobody expected him to meet with. A rival casino boss, a politician with power, and a crime lord who hated Gerald's guts. Reuben raised his glass. Reuben.
It's time to cut the old man's throat.
The deal was sealed. And now, Gerald wasn't just fighting Celeste. He was fighting a war on all sides. Chapter 27. The first attempt on Gerald's life. Gerald McKoy had survived everything. Betrayal, assassination attempts, wars over power. But tonight, his luck was about to run out. The setup, a private restaurant, exclusive, secure. Gerald sat at his usual table, drinking bourbon, doing business. Across from him, a longtime associate, a man who had been loyal for years. Or so Gerald thought, because outside, the hit was already in motion. The betrayal. Gerald took a sip of his drink. Gerald.
So tell me, how's business?
The man across from him, a casino owner named Dominic Velasquez, shifted in his seat. Nervous. Gerald noticed. He always noticed. Gerald.
You seem tense, Dominic.
Dominic forced a smile.
Just a long day, Gerald.
Outside, a black SUV rolled up. Gunmen stepped out. And the moment Dominic reached into his jacket, Gerald moved first. The attack. Bang. A bullet ripped through Dominic's skull before he could pull his gun. Gerald flipped the table, drawing his own weapon. The restaurant exploded in gunfire. Windows shattered. Waiters screamed. Gerald moved fast, ducking, firing, dropping the first two attackers. But then, a bullet caught him. Right in the shoulder. He stumbled, grunted. His men rushed in, guns blazing. And within seconds, the attack was over. Bodies on the floor, blood everywhere. Gerald leaned against the wall, gripping his wound. And in that moment, he realized the truth. Someone wanted him dead. And this was only the first attempt. Chapter 28. Gerald demands blood. Gerald McKoy sat in his private study, blood still soaking through his shirt. The pain didn't matter. The bullet didn't matter. What mattered? Someone tried to kill him. And now, they were going to pay. The interrogation. The McKoy mansion. Basement. A man was tied to a chair. Bloodied, bruised, begging. One of the gunmen captured at the restaurant. Gerald stood over him, calm, cold, unshaken. Gerald.
Who sent you?
The man spat blood. Gunman.
Fuck you.
Gerald sighed, then nodded at his enforcer. Crack. A baseball bat slammed into the man's knee. He screamed. Gerald knelt beside him. Gerald.
Let's try this again.
The man gasped, shaking. Gunman.
It was a job. Just a job.
Gerald waited. Gunman.
The order came from someone close to you.
A pause. Gerald's jaw tightened. Because he already knew. The suspects. After the interrogation, Gerald sat in his office pouring himself a drink. 3 people had the power to pull this off. Reuben, Celeste, Victoria. Reuben had motive. He wanted the empire gone. Celeste had ambition. She wanted the empire for herself. Victoria had secrets, and a past that nobody questioned. One of them was behind this. Gerald took a slow sip. And when he found out who, they weren't just getting erased. Chapter 29. The trap is set. Gerald McKoy wasn't a man who reacted. He planned. He calculated. And tonight, he was about to set the perfect trap, because if someone in his own family wanted him dead, he'd make sure they went first. The bait. Gerald called a family meeting. His wounds were bandaged, but his presence, stronger than ever. Celeste, Reuben, and Victoria sat across from him. Nobody spoke. They were all waiting. Then Gerald leaned forward, voice low, deadly. Gerald.
One of you betrayed me.
Silence. Sebastian shifted uncomfortably. Victoria reached for her wine, calm as ever. Reuben smirked. Celeste? She just watched. Gerald scanned their faces. Gerald.
So here's how this is going to work.
He poured himself a drink. Gerald.
I'm giving you one chance to tell me the truth.
He sipped. Gerald.
If you don't, I'll find out anyway.
He leaned back. Gerald.
And when I do, you won't get another fucking chance.
The first crack. Reuben laughed. Reuben.
So this is it. The great Gerald McKoy is finally scared.
Gerald's gaze didn't move. Gerald.
You think I'm scared, boy?
Reuben leaned forward, smirking. Reuben.
I think you're bleeding. And when kings start bleeding, they don't stay kings for long.
The tension in the room crackled. Because that was a declaration of war. Chapter 30. The first betrayal revealed. Gerald McKoy never blinked first. Reuben thought he could rattle him. Celeste thought she could outplay him. Victoria thought she could manipulate him. But Gerald? He was always 5 steps ahead. And tonight, one of them was going to slip. The revelation. Gerald leaned back in his chair, calm, unshaken. Gerald.
You're right, Reuben.
Reuben raised an eyebrow. Gerald.
Kings don't stay kings forever.
He took a slow sip of his drink. Gerald.
Which is why I already know who's trying to replace me.
The room went still. Celeste didn't move. Victoria set down her wine glass. And Reuben, for the first time, he stopped smirking. Because Gerald wasn't guessing. He knew. The slip. Gerald tapped his fingers on the table. Gerald.
See, the thing about betrayal is, it leaves a trail.
His eyes landed on Celeste. Gerald.
And yours, darling? Was fucking messy.
Celeste's expression didn't change. Celeste.
You have proof?
Gerald smirked.
I don't need proof. I have instincts.
Celeste exhaled, leaning back. Celeste.
Then kill me, Daddy, if you're so sure.
The room held its breath. Because this was a standoff. And Gerald wasn't pulling the trigger. Not yet. Because the truth. Celeste wasn't the only one plotting. And before this was over, more than one person was going to die. Chapter 31. The real traitor makes a move. Gerald McKoy wasn't a man who hesitated. Celeste stood her ground, unflinching, daring him to act. But Gerald didn't make moves based on emotion. He made them based on strategy. And something about this didn't add up. Because Celeste was many things. Reckless wasn't one of them. Which meant someone else was playing this game. And they were hiding in plain sight. The secret meeting. Across town in a low-lit private lounge, 2 people sat across from each other. One of them, Reuben McKoy. The other, Victoria, Gerald's own wife, and the one person nobody was watching. Victoria swirled her drink, voice calm as ever. Victoria,
You should have finished the job.
Reuben exhaled.
You act like I'm the one who pulled the trigger.
Victoria raised an eyebrow. Victoria.
You didn't stop it either.
Reuben leaned forward.
And you? You stayed right by his side, playing the loyal wife.
Victoria smirked. Victoria.
Someone had to make sure he didn't see it coming.
Silence. Then Reuben grinned. Reuben.
Then I guess it's time for round 2.
Victoria lifted her glass. Victoria.
To the future of the McKoy Empire.
Glasses clinked. And the second attempt on Gerald McKoy's life was officially in motion. Chapter 32. The betrayal closes in. Gerald McKoy was a hunter. He had spent his entire life eliminating threats before they could reach him. But this time, the enemy wasn't coming from the outside. It was already inside his home, and he was running out of time to see it. The second attempt. Late night, the McKoy estate. Gerald sat in his private study pouring a drink. The pain from his gunshot wound still burned, but he didn't have time for weakness. His mind was locked on one thought. Who betrayed me? Then, a creak. The study door slightly ajar. A shadow moved. And just like that, the second attempt on his life was already happening. The assassin strikes. Silent footsteps, moving fast, precise. A knife in the dark, meant to end him before he could react. But Gerald McKoy didn't survive this long by being slow. As the blade came down, he moved, spun his chair, grabbing his attacker's wrist. And for the first time, he saw the face of his would-be killer, his own fucking wife. Victoria McKoy, the final betrayal. Gerald's grip tightened on Victoria's wrist. His voice, low, dangerous, cold. Gerald.
You should have aimed for the throat.
Victoria didn't flinch. Victoria.
And you should have died when you had the chance.
A brutal struggle. She fought hard, fast, trained. But Gerald was stronger. With one brutal twist, the knife dropped from her grip. And for the first time, Victoria felt real fear. Because Gerald wasn't hesitating anymore. He shoved her against the desk. Gerald.
How long?
Victoria breathed heavy, defiant. Victoria.
Long enough?
Gerald's jaw tightened. Because this wasn't just a betrayal. This was a war that had been planned for years. And if Victoria had been playing him this whole time, she wasn't playing alone. Which meant Reuben was in on it. And now, all bets were off. Chapter 33. Gerald's revenge begins. Gerald McKoy never believed in second chances. Not in business, not in life, and sure as hell not in betrayal. Victoria had just signed her death sentence. The only question, would he make it quick or slow? The decision. Victoria stared him down, still proud, still unafraid, even with his hand wrapped around her throat, even with the knife inches from her ribs. Gerald.
You've been lying to me for years.
Victoria smirked, breathing heavy. Victoria.
And you just figured that out?
Gerald exhaled, jaw clenched. Because the worst part, she wasn't wrong. He had been too distracted, too busy watching Celeste, watching Reuben. And all along, his own wife was playing the longest con. But he didn't kill her. Not yet. Instead, he grabbed his phone, dialed. One number, one order. Gerald,
Get Reuben, alive.
because Victoria wasn't the main problem. Reuben was, and Gerald wanted to look his traitorous son in the eye before he buried him. Meanwhile, Reuben walks into a trap. Across town, Reuben sat at a private club, sipping whiskey, feeling invincible. He had played this game perfectly. Victoria was in position. Gerald was weakened. And soon, the McKoy empire would be his to destroy. Then, his phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. We need to meet. Urgent. The old man's making a move. Reuben smirked. He had won. Or so he thought. Because the second he walked into that meeting, he wasn't walking back out. Chapter 34. The son betrays the father betrays the son. Reuben McKoy thought he was untouchable. He thought he had outplayed everyone. But as he stepped into the private warehouse for his urgent meeting, he felt it. Something was wrong. The trap springs. The room was too quiet. The air felt heavy. And the second the door shut behind him, he knew. Reuben turned, but it was too late. Two men grabbed him, guns drawn. And from the shadows, Gerald McKoy stepped forward, calm, unshaken, bloody from his last fight, but still standing. Gerald,
You always were a disappointment, boy.
Reuben gritted his teeth. Reuben.
Took you long enough to figure it out, old man.
Gerald smirked. Gerald.
Number I've always known.
He stepped closer, voice cold as death. Gerald.
I just wanted to see how far you'd go before I put you down.
The final betrayal. Reuben laughed, even with a gun in his face, even knowing he had lost. Reuben.
So what now, huh? You kill me? Bury me next to all your other mistakes?
Gerald exhaled. Gerald.
I should.
A beat. Then, he stepped back. Gerald.
But that would be too easy.
He nodded to his men. Gerald.
Let him go.
Reuben blinked. Confused. The guards released him. Reuben.
What the fuck is this?
Gerald smiled. The most dangerous smile in the world. Gerald.
You wanted out of the McKoy name, boy? Congratulations.
He pulled a folder from his pocket, tossed it at Reuben's feet. Inside, a full dossier, documents, statements, evidence. Gerald.
I just erased you.
Reuben's heart slammed against his ribs. Reuben.
What the fuck did you do?
Gerald.
Bank accounts. Frozen. Properties. Seized. Friends. Gone. You're a nobody now.
Reuben staggered back. Because this was worse than death. He had spent his whole life fighting for power. And Gerald had just taken it all away with a fucking signature. Chapter 35. The last piece falls into place. Gerald McKoy stood victorious. Reuben, erased. Victoria, a traitor now under watch. The McKoy empire, still his. Or so he thought. Because as he sat in his study, enjoying his so-called victory, the real game was already in motion. And the last piece was about to reveal itself. Celeste makes her move. Celeste McKoy was patient. She had watched her father crush his enemies. She had watched him erase Reuben. And now, she was the only McKoy left standing, which meant one thing. It was time to take the throne. The final betrayal. Gerald poured himself a drink. Then, a voice behind him. Gerald turned. Celeste stood in the doorway. Calm, unshaken, dangerous. Gerald smirked.
So this is it then?
Celeste took a step closer. Celeste. Gerald set his drink down. Gerald.
And you think you can run it?
Celeste tilted her head, smirked. Celeste. Then. Gerald's vision blurred. His legs buckled. His breathing slowed. His glass shattered against the floor. And as he hit his knees, gasping for air, he finally understood. The drink was poisoned. The end of a king. Gerald McKoy had ruled for decades. He had survived every war, every betrayal, except this one. Celeste knelt beside him. Celeste. His vision faded. His empire? Hers now. And as the darkness closed in, Gerald McKoy took his last breath. A new queen rises. Celeste McKoy stood in her father's study, the same room where he had ruled, plotted, destroyed lives. Now it was hers. Gerald McKoy was dead. Reuben was erased. Victoria was nothing but a shadow. And the McKoy empire had a new ruler. Celeste poured herself a drink. She raised the glass. Celeste. She smirked. Celeste. She drank. Because the war was over. Or so she thought. The phone call. Her assistant knocked. Assistant.
There's a call for you, Miss McKoy.
Celeste exhaled. The assistant hesitated.
You're gonna want to take this one.
Celeste grabbed the phone. Celeste. Speak. A deep voice answered. Calm, steady, unfamiliar. Voice. Celeste frowned. A pause. Then, a name that made her blood run cold. Voice. Silence. Celeste's grip tightened on the phone. Because whoever he wasn't calling to congratulate her. He was calling to let her know the game wasn't over. It was just beginning.